Friends, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember MEAD magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today. My thing's all turned down here. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the program. My shit's falling all over. Everything's going nuts. Hope everybody's having a wonderful afternoon, evening, whatever it is, where you is listening to us here on the program. I'm Tom Connors. We have 32 flavors of Nick Weiser, all 32 flavors of them. How are you doing?
Hey, Tom. Hello to you, sir. Clobby. Hello, hello.
Hey.
Hello to our chat. Hello to our great wrenches as well. I see you, D-Bud. I even see our Latino Slam Paulie with his mighty wrench as well. Thank you all for being here, and I'm doing good. Happy to be here, and it's the 1st of August, which this is crazy a process. Off to a slow start, but let's see where this month goes. I do know that I got movies I'm looking forward to in September, though.
Yeah, you were talking a little bit about that in the private chat, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of that stuff, I'm sure, coming up here. But as you pointed out, we also have Clobbering Times. How are you doing?
What's up, buddies? Thanks for having me here, Tom. Good to see you, bro. And Nick, hey, buddy. And wonderful chat.
Dude.
Hey there, my good friends. Great to be geeking out with you on this wonderful Tuesday night. It's Tuesday, but we can do this.
Yes,
we can get through this Tuesday like it's Wednesday. I don't even know what that means.
Yes. I don't know either, but we'll roll with it.
Probably nothing.
Speaking of rolling, I'm rolling around here because my light back there fell apart and fell down. Anyway, welcome everybody to the program. As I just said before, we have a super chat already from Valentine's Tube. Welcome,
Hey.
Valentine's Tube. It says, "Hail everyone. Did you get the radio drama? Thanks." Radio drama. Did you email me something? I have not had a chance to check my email yet today. If you did, if not, I will do my best. If you're talking about that, what was it, like a Halloween one or something like that from a while back? No, I never did get a chance to. Valentine's Tube. I apologize. But I do remember you sending me something a while back too. If not, but no, I haven't had a chance to check any of that out. There's not enough hours in the day, man. Just not enough. Like I've been scrambling all day long, just as it is. So that's just the way it works with this world. But one of these days, I'd like to have time off to do those kind of things. But yeah, if not, just resend it to me again. And if you just send it today, I may not have even got a chance to look at anything today on Twitter too much because, yeah, as you know, I get up, got the YouTube thing to deal with. I was on Mr. H's stream earlier, had to get ready for this stream today. And yeah, we got a few things to talk about, which we're going to do here very soon. But yeah, if anything, just refresh my memory later on, and I will definitely try to check it out. So what do we got going on here today, guys? How you guys been? How you doing, Clobby? Anything new going on in your world?
No, new. Nah, I've never been one all that good at new. You know me. I'm always too good at old. I take care of the old, let you young guys take care of the new. So I wish I could think there was something new out there. Let me see. I'm checking my new shelf. No, man, nothing. But I've double checked it though.
All right. Well, how about you, Nick?
Well, I watched the Adam Eve special episode on Invincible that came out, the one-off.
Oh, I thought you meant like a special about the company Adam and Eve, you know.
No.
Boy company.
No, and it was really good. And also I
need to watch
did a
that.
video.
Cool.
I posted a video this morning, which a lot of you should check out, especially if you watch that show. And if you didn't watch that show, well, it'll give you some good inside baseball on what happens to comic creators. That's all I can leave at. It is very good inside baseball. And I provide receipts. I don't want to say what it is, but I got receipts. So yeah. Cobby, I know I told you in private a few days ago what it was about. But I gotta keep the spoiler alerts for the stuff. So
okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I remember now, yeah.
Oh, hey, apparently Tom is the 33rd flavor. I didn't know this. Tom, what have you been hiding from me all this time? You're the 33rd flavor.
It kind of tastes like butter.
Ooh, salted, right? Okay. Well then, okay, I can let this slip.
But I just want to say we lost somebody yesterday, and this guy, I tell you, Paul Rubens.
Oh yeah,
this is a vintage right there. If you guys didn't see that yet, still in the package. Have not opened it. Yeah, big deal to us. In a certain generation or two.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Clobby, you were a little bit older, but I got to imagine you still remember the hype.
Oh God, for Pee-wee's, yeah. I mean, it wasn't
Playhouse.
Yeah, I must admit, I didn't really watch that. I didn't really care much for the Pee-wee's A Big Adventure, but that said, you were out there, you knew about it. It was huge. He was a phenomenon at the time, no question about it. Sad loss. I'm sure he read something of a tragic life, though he, still doing stuff. And
he Chadwick Boseman his situation, didn't he?
I didn't hear about the details about what.
Didn't he have cancer that he was very private about?
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the case. I don't know the extent or what all.
Like last 4 or 5 years. So I was like, wow, he Boseman'd it. He just wanted to keep carrying on. Yeah. And what if you look at his Instagram, because my girlfriend follows his Instagram, and she'd show me he posted really wholesome stuff. The stuff that the few things that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really follow him too much, but I saw he seems like a really, really cool guy, actually. And he's definitely a light in the world of dark echo chambers, which is good to see, especially on Instagram. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And of course, when I was a butterball of a baby, apparently I was a big fan. So hey, that's good to know. So in my life, he gave me good childhood memories. Fortunately, I don't remember them, but I've heard a lot of family say I was a big fan. So yeah, no, he
Mm.
seemed like a super cool dude. So I was really unfortunate that it happened. But hey, no, what a legend. He gave a lot of awesome memories. Ones
Yeah.
that I don't remember, but plenty of people do. And that's what's great. So hey, we got to remember
Yeah.
the good.
Pee Wee's Playhouse was huge at the time. And, you know, it was really a big show for a lot of years for a lot of kids. You know, didn't Al Yankovic used to go in there, even people like that? And,
I don't know if Al was
think
ever
Al
on
used to
there
go
or
in there.
not.
He's had, and of course, you know, Paul Rubens has 2 Batman connections. So, you know, there
Yeah.
he is. Deepness there.
Yeah, he does.
And not only that, I mean, he was part of the Groundlings. That was kind of where Pee Wee got the character himself was started. So, like, I mean, yeah, there's that connection too. Yeah, I mean, he will be missed, but yeah, I didn't plan on talking too much about that because we got some other news to talk about. In fact, before we get into the main topic here, thought this might interest you, Nick.
Ooh.
This is something
Yeah.
that kind of got past my radar when I saw the film because I'm like, I guess they gender swapped Scumbug, but then again, I guess not.
Huh?
So yeah,
So
my buddy Price of Reason also saw Mutant Mayhem and did a excellent review of it. Check it out. Says a lot of the similar things to what I feel about it. And he basically hit on the point that they basically made Splinter into a gay, human-hating bigot in the film. He's not wrong. And the reason we say he would be gay is because if we scroll down here, this character here, Scumbug, as you see from the official Paramount UK thing, is playing himself. Himself being the operative word here. Because this is Splinter's new boyfriend at the end of the film. Spoilers. And we get a scene of them even making out. Yes.
hold on, you're
In the movie?
In the movie.
Oh, jeez.
I just assume they were gender swapped because they don't really say per se if it's a male or female in the movie, but in like half of the bag, mutants have already been gender swapped. So you're just like, okay, it's another one. But yeah, Paulie's not wrong. The movie does suck on a whole lot of levels, but it also sucks face on a total gay level.
Wow.
So guess what, folks? Not only did they make Splinter into a dumb dad joke, they had to make him gay on top of it all.
Why? I know this reminds me of what Mark with a C posted, I think about a week ago. He posted a video. Why are they so desperate to put this stuff in front of kids like material, whether it's kids' books, kids' movies? Why are they so desperate to have their attention around this stuff? It's dumb. Like it's like I can't even get mad. It's just so laughable. It's of course it's the most expected thing from a Seth Rogen fronted product. Of course this happened. Like, would you really expect anything less from this guy? I what really blows my mind is how he keeps getting attached to all these projects. Because this to me is the
He
lesser.
must suck some really good dick.
Boing. I want to know what he's doing. That's seriously giving these jobs. That's the real question mystery to me is that because this
See,
stuff
the trick is to pay attention to the helmet, Nick. If you do that, you get all the jobs. And if you use the tongue a little bit, like this, they really like that.
Oh, man. I can't wait till that dude is no longer involved in anything.
No, and
That's
yes,
going to be a long wait, buddy. Unfortunately,
freaking serious about Splinter Theliato. I would have hit on this more in my review, but I just assumed they gender swapped the character. They never really specify if it's a he or a she in the movie per se. And as Price of Reason posits in his review, basically, that they cut around it quite a bit, probably, most likely. And I can see that. Again, I mean, I cannot express enough how bad this movie is. Like, Barbie is a better movie, I've said already in many places. That's how bad
Wow.
this
I remember you
is.
saying that.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
I at least had more fun with the first 20, 30 minutes of Barbie and some other bits than any, and I mean any portion of this. And it felt like eternity getting through this movie. It was the closest I can describe as torture because of where I come from as far as Ninja Turtles go. But I mean, I don't know if anybody gives a shit, but spoilers, here's another point that I made in my review. This is one of the last shots of the movie here. They all live together at the end, including Bebop and Rocksteady.
This is stupid.
These people are sick mothers, I swear.
Well,
they
not
really
to mention
are.
they changed just about everybody's origin stories.
Let me
anyway,
guess, there's
so.
no more villains. They're just misunderstood.
Well, the mutants were, yeah, because they were just it was Superfly who was the real bad guy, and that was it. So,
Of course,
Well, that's good to know. Wow. I don't know how you did it, Tom. You'll never have to do it again, I hope.
I never will watch this thing again.
You want to talk about the greatest timing in my life, having to go to a birthday party where there's
I know you were so like gloating about that. I'm like, fuck you, Nick. You know.
Dude, there's good beef brisket, there's good boom bounce, and it was, it was a very, very homey like birthday party for one of my daughter's friends. I was just like, it was a good time, and I was like thinking, oh man, I can't wait to listen to MEAD and on the way to work the next morning to hear about it in my car. I'm listening to the replay. I'm like, holy crap, this sounds like an atrocity. I'm so glad I did see it. But yes, I really did. Like, seriously, Tiger Valley, the gods were looking out for me. You know what? I will take it, man. I mean, would I have seen it if there's no birthday party? Yeah, I would have. I was stuck by Tom's side and, gone through the pain together. That's what bros do. But so there was another plan for me, and brisket and moon bounce was the other.
Well, that was the thing our review was missing because sadly, Six and Culture aren't exactly Ninja Turtle fans. So they're just like, it was a movie, I mean, Culture's kind of come around to some of the worst parts.
Wait till the spinoffs come out. I'll be with you then, because they're gonna not. There's not go any way back down from that stuff, because that's by them saying that Mutant Mayhem failed, and they can't accept that that's gonna be a failure. So I'll be around come the spinoffs, the unnecessary amount of spinoffs that they're gonna do.
Well, and I'm working on a idea for a video now because I had learned a little bit of info about why they announced all these sequels and spin-offs already to this movie that hasn't even come out yet. But yeah, I mean, the short version is they had all these licensing agreements. So. And they had to fulfill them.
Of course they did. They had to keep that just to keep that license going. I hate it. I remember that reminds me of when Sony's Andrew Garfield's The Amazing Spider-Man movies came out.
It's a little different.
Just so they can keep the license to the movies of Spider-Man. That's the only reason why they made those movies, because their license was expiring. I remember it was supposed to be in.
Yeah, that's a little different because Nickelodeon does own Ninja Turtles. This is because they already had preset licensing deals with like toy companies and shit. That's what this is mostly about. And since the last two shows they did ended up failing, because I learned another thing, that basically the reason they ended up doing Rise of TMNT had less to do with making it like the Bay films as it did the toy sales fell off a cliff after the third or fourth season of the 2012 show, I guess. And they never picked up again after that outside of the classic stuff. But we have somebody joining us here, Mr. Scribelight. How are you doing?
Doing all right. How about you guys?
Glad to have you. How you been?
Hey there.
Oh, it's boiling in heat like everybody else, but trying to keep cool as best as possible.
Oh, is Yellow Flash in the chat?
No,
Yellow
he's
Flash.
in the chat, all right. He's got some choice words.
I didn't see what he said yet. I can send him a link if he's not busy.
Mutant Mayhem was a 9 out of 10.
Oh, he loved it. It's his favorite movie since Godzilla 98.
Oh.
Man,
He said he didn't know he was worried it wasn't going to beat it, but after he saw it now, he's like, I'm convinced.
There you go.
I've been watching. I've been a Turtles fan since I was a little kid, and I tell you what, just watching the franchise devolve over time, it's really sad because when I was really young, I remember seeing the comic books, and it was like this. The art style was so dark and gritty, and it just had this sense of it. Like as a little kid, I felt like this is something I shouldn't be looking at. Like I'm going into the horror section of the video store when I'm too young to go over to the R-rated movies and kind of things, because it just seemed like it was so beyond. Even though it was about Ninja Turtles, there was just something about the art style and the way that it was presented that felt like something really edgy and like, grungy back when grunge was actually cool. And then when the cartoon came out, yeah, it was kiddie, but it still retained some of that. I don't know. Maybe it was the original art style that first season where it still looked kind of, I don't know how to explain it. Like old 80s cartoons kind of had that slightly realistic edge to the way the characters were rendered. And that first season of Ninja Turtles really felt still kind of grounded. And there was all this pathos.
You mean
behind...
the 87 or the 2000s one?
No, I'm talking about the original cartoon series.
Okay, yeah. Well, the original series, funnily enough, is only 5 episodes or whatever it is for the first season. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then
the Turtle Tracks story, basically. Yeah, it's a pretty well done story. You're right, and the animation's great. Yes.
Yeah, the animation has that really sort of like anime 80s cartoon style, and then of course the edges softened by after those first like introductory episodes or whatever.
Well, what happened there was Fred Wolf took over because he got a bunch of requests from all the people that had the first 5 episodes of Turtles. And they're like, we want more. We want another season. And Fred went back to Playmates. He's like, they want more. And they're like, okay. And it's done. That's all we need. Like, well, they want more shows. Like, we don't need no more shows.
It's a limited series. It's done.
It's done. It's done its part, but they're like, okay, well, then I'll buy the license. They're like, all right. Well, that was why that series was different than some of the other ones. They weren't under any obligation to use any of the toys in that show.
Right.
So whenever any of those characters showed up or they were originated there, that was usually the case.
Yeah.
So you had 3 or 4 different. At that time, Turtles was like a bunch of different license avenues, which was kind of weird. Because like the movie deal was made separately, the toy deal was made, and then the toy deal made the cartoon, but then the cartoon deal spawned its own separate deal. And then they had another licensing bit for other things too, like, the live appearances. And then eventually they built the music thing into it. And all like, it was this web that just kept spinning out from Surge Licensing. Machine. Yeah. Cause Surge Licensing handled the licensing. And this was the guy that went to Eastman and Laird, and he barely had any, he was kind of like in the same boat they were, Mirage Studios was a Mirage, right? Well, Surge Licensing was almost the same kind of deal, but he went to them going, I can market this. And they're like, well, bring us back a check for $1 million and we'll talk.
Yeah. See, my first exposure was a friend of mine had a couple of the comic books, the originals. And then the very first role-playing game book I ever bought was a Mutant Ninja Turtles RPG supplement. It was like all these mini adventures of them having to get into little traps and things, and you're playing Ninja Turtles. And the vibe I got out of that first exposure was something much darker than what the cartoon would eventually become, obviously. But I always thought that those first couple of seasons, especially the first 5 episodes or whatever, really still retained some of that edge. And there was always an aspect of body horror that really didn't come across in later seasons, I guess. But like, especially with like Baxter Stockman, because I always liked The Fly. And some of those other things were like, Hamato Yoshi becomes this rat guy. Like, oh my God. And then, Uruku Saki, the whole, I really think if they do a Ninja Turtles movie, they should do a prequel. It's just this epic sort of like produced by like
Cronenberg.
Well, no. Well, maybe Cronenberg. if you could find a Korean Cronenberg, because man, the Netflix shows right now produced by Korean studios in fantasy, costume fantasy, are amazing. And if they could just get half the production budget on one of those TV series they do for those Korean costume supernatural drama shows and do a prequel of like Uruku Saki versus Hamato Yoshi before he became Splinter and everything, give that backstory, that'd be amazing. I think
Well,
that'd be
and
great.
again,
That's a movie they should do.
We had
there's
traces of that in the Secret History of the Foot Clan when
Hmm.
during the early days of the Eastman IDW run. I
Sure,
can't
yeah,
remember
yeah.
what part. It was actually pretty good. It was a 4-issue miniseries. It's definitely worth checking out. There's nothing, they don't do anything where it's like a big retcon, but they do add some layers to Hamato and Oroku.
Mhm.
It's nice to see. It definitely adds to like their history, and it's nice. I mean, that's the first extent that I know, but yeah, give it a read. It was good. That was one that run of Team NT was actually good.
See, I've always felt like, especially after reading the comic books, that the best way to portray those characters is to play them straight. Regardless of the fact that they're Ninja Turtles. That's what the first movie kind of did. You know, there were jokes and things, but for the most part, you know, they actually had some depth. They were actually taking themselves seriously in spite of all the you know, strangeness of it all. And yet, every time that they just turn it into, I mean, I don't have another way to put it. They turn it into a cartoon. Like the characters become cartoon characters, not real characters, not with some kind of grounding. And I realize once you turn it into something that's marketed to children, you're kind of throwing it all out the window. But any movie adaptation or anything like that that they do in the future, really, you sort of like forget the fact that they're turtles and you play them out like you take it seriously. You take the material seriously, and that's what I think is missing from what would be a good Ninja Turtles production.
Agreed.
Anyway, what else is going on?
no. I mean, and here's my problem though: is like the mutant business.
Mhm.
Like to me, should be. I always liked it when the turtles were more of an accident,
Yes.
right? And I like the fact that it's difficult for
The
them to create
Daredevil
new
accident.
mutants. Exactly. And see, Laird was always the one who tried to keep things a little bit more grounded. He was
Mhm.
more of the, you know, the ninja stuff and all that kind of business. And Eastman, on the other hand, he was the one that was always more into the let's get sci-fi fantasiful and let's get crazy. And he was always saying yes to checks.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing.
I like it in doses.
I love Eastman and Laird together. The problem is Eastman is the only one who's had any major influence over the franchise ever since Nickelodeon has bought it.
Mhm.
And he was the one who wanted to get away from it first. Laird has quietly done his thing in the background for the last 30, 40 years. He has the right to do X amount of comics that he doesn't have to pay anybody licensing fees for that he can do each year. And there's things that he does from time to time, like they did get back together to do The Last Ronin and whatnot. And again, that was one of the better things they had done in a long time. And Laird's whole plan was he wanted to go back, I believe, and finish the initial run because they had only gotten up to like issue 50 or whatever it was in the initial run, and they never finished it off. So like Last Ronin is like them finishing it off, and then I think they're supposed to be retroactively going back and doing some other stuff in between, I guess. I don't know. I'd read a few things in the past. But again, my point is when Laird's away from the projects, it seems like there's less quality control.
Hmm.
And I'm not trying to put Eastman down, but this is also the guy who pretty much destroyed Heavy Metal Magazine. And how do you fuck up Heavy Metal Magazine? It practically prints itself. I mean, all you got to do is slap some scantily clad chick on the front with some kick-ass fucking sword or some shit, and you sell all the copies you always sell. Like there's a specific audience for heavy metal. How do you fuck that up? I don't understand.
How did Disney fuck up Star Wars? How they fuck up Indiana,
That's
and
a good
on and
point.
on and on. I mean, it's easy. You put it in the hands of somebody who doesn't appreciate
yes,
the
he does
property.
do some good stuff, Flash, and that's the thing is even during like, I mean, he did, to his credit, try to put heavy metal up onto another. Like he's like, okay, I did it already with Ninja Turtles. Maybe I can take something like heavy metal and make it mainstream. But that's the problem. Heavy metal isn't mainstream.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be.
And Ninja Turtles at its core was never mainstream either. Go ahead, Clobby.
No. I was just agreeing with you. Go ahead. No, I'm good.
But it just so happened that it was the biggest franchise that finished off the 80s and began the 90s, right? It's like this, it was this bridge franchise. I mean, and I love it because there's this video out there of the guys at Playmates sitting there at a table with Eastman and Laird when they're signing the deal for Playmates toys. Yeah. And they flat out tell them, they're like, look, guys, there's a 3-year life span to these kind of things. little did they know 40 fucking
Yeah.
years later, because that's the thing most people don't
kidding.
realize, there has never not been an incarnation of Ninja Turtles since it began. There has always been some sort of Ninja Turtles on shelves up until the rise of TMNT. They started falling off. That is the first, and I remember, I don't know if Nick remembers this or not, but I remember bringing that up, that like, this is the first time in history where I've ever went to a Walmart and there isn't a Ninja Turtle section, and there wasn't until they started re-releasing all the classic toys.
Yeah, there was that small gap. I remember that gap, and it was weird because even if I wasn't paying attention to the show of Rise, I remember there was some stuff early on, but yeah, then there was a gap. I'm like, whoa, this is weird, because I've been around those types of toys, well, my existence, we'll just say my existence. And it's like it's an expectation. When I look at the toys, like where's some TMNT just to see what they're doing, whether I was buying or not. I got nothing else.
No, and that's kind of where this video I'm trying to work on. I'm just trying to work out the logistics as far as like how to structure it, but that's kind of basically where Nickelodeon has started. When they bought the franchise, they have gone from a height of the 2012 series, which was by most considered pretty well done, and I've never said a bad thing about it. I never watched the whole thing. I watched like the first 4 or 5 episodes. I'm like, okay, it's very kiddie oriented. I'm not a big fan of the 3D CGI, but you know what? It's sticking to the basic idea of what Ninja Turtles are. The characterizations are there, the story's there. They're paying homage and giving it its full breadth of what it should have for a kids show. It's mostly harmless. Okay, I ignored it. It wasn't my thing. But then they ended that for Rise of TMNT, and a lot of fans were under the impression that they prematurely ended the show, and this is where I've started to learn that that shows, the 2012 shows, toys were starting to fall off. So I guess it was the licensees who were demanding something to reinvigorate the franchise, and that's where the movies and Rise of TMNT come into play.
I'd be curious to know what the proportionality and success is between TMNT's merchandising action figures success and Star Wars in the same period that they were around.
I don't know. I just know that they were comparable to Masters of the Universe, which at one time was big.
Yeah. I remember I was when I was a kid, I had both. I mean, that was kind of the thing. As soon as Masters of the Universe started petering out either in availability or in my interest, then Ninja Turtles suddenly appeared, and I was all over Ninja Turtles, and I had that stuff. And it really was like the same kind of imagination fuel I had as a kid with those things. But yeah, no, you're right. I was thinking about it, going through toy stores and things. There always was a turtle section, at least one section aside. But then the two constants, like I say, is Star Wars and Turtles, I suppose, for like going to a Target or a KB Toys or whatever. And so, yeah, I wonder how who's been more successful year over year, Turtles or Star Wars in the lifetime.
As far as
Turtles?
a constant, probably Turtles. As far as overall monies, probably Star Wars.
Sure,
I think Tom just nailed it right there with that statement. Yeah,
because like the Turtles were, like I said, the consistency part was what they had. They had never gone out of, because the first show was on for I think 11 years. They had toys plus the movies in that period. Then that spun off. Eventually, they had right after that come in when Saban took over, and they had the next mutation, which was actually them reworking what was supposed to be the 4th film into mixing it into the Power Rangers lore. And then when that ended is when the 2003 series picked up, and I believe that went for 6 or 7 seasons, and even led into the next mutation or whatever the hell it was called, the future one. And then that had Turtles Forever to wrap that up, and it was shortly after Turtles Forever wrapped up, because that was right when Nickelodeon bought them in 2009. And then Turtles Forever was under their purview, if I remember right, and then that was like setting things up, and in between there you also had the 2007 animated film, which was meant to have a sequel, but the company that did the animation fell under, Imagi or whatever their name was, so they never got the sequel off the ground. So there was supposed to be another movie there, but then after Paramount bought them in 2009, then they revamped it into the 2012 series, which then eventually led to the movies and the Rise of TMNT, which has been just, diminishing. And now we get to this, which feels like bottom of the barrel. So it's almost like, yeah, we've reached the literal bottom of the barrel now.
Well,
But
did they
guess
have?
what, kids? There's more
Yeah.
because Colin Yost is supposed to be working on a live action movie
Lord.
as well. But anyway, sorry, Scribe, you were going to say
Oh,
something.
I was curious because I don't know the history on this. So, do you know what the circumstances were under which Nickelodeon bought the franchise? I mean, was somebody having a fire sale or something, or?
Eastman had. Now, I'm probably fuzzy on this, but Eastman had sold out his part, I believe, or sold a big portion of his part to Laird, if I remember correctly. And then the Nickelodeon deal happened, and I think Laird got most of that. But then, like I said, out of that deal, Laird got he got the ability to make, I think it's up to 11 or 12 comics a year without having to do anything through Nickelodeon on his own and stuff like that. But he has pretty much stayed away from the franchise, otherwise, outside of like Last Ronin and once in a while doing a few things here and there. Eastman has been the one ever since. I think he was brought on, and it really was weird because it was almost like a pity thing. Because after he had, heavy metal had fallen apart, and I think he lost, his girlfriend or wife or whatever it was at the time, and all that kind of stuff. They kind of brought him in as kind of like a consultant, and he's been a consultant ever since. Somewhere, I believe, on the 2012 series or the movies, he was brought in that region, and he's been consulting. And that's the thing, is a lot of the problems I have with the series have been brought in or okayed under his purview, and that is like the spirit animal bullshit. Which I don't know if you're aware of that, but that's like where in the newer movies, like Bebop and Rocksteady, turn into a rhinoceros and a warthog because that's their spirit animal.
Oh, jeez.
And that's something that has been carried over through some of the comics and shit, I guess, too.
Yeah, I always like the Jeff Goldblum fly theory of you put somebody in the room with the animal and you kind of merge, that kind of thing. That was always my favorite
there's some
part
kind of DNA merge, exactly.
Yeah. I guess maybe a more rhetorical question. We know a lot now, obviously, about the inner workings of Disney and how the culture there and the individuals involved and the ideologies and so on have bled over into their productions and things. Do you assume something similar is going on at Nickelodeon that would lead to this current dumpster fire, or do we know much about the ins and outs of Nickelodeon's corporate culture?
Funnily enough, I guess the best I could compare it to is like Alex Kurtzman, because like we all think Alex Kurtzman's the bane of our existence, right? But at the end of the day, to people at CBS and Paramount, he's doing them a favor by slumming it on Star Trek. They didn't give a shit what he did to Star Trek. They didn't care until Clarice fucked up.
Right.
So it's them getting Seth Rogen to work on TMNT, especially when they got to fulfill all these licenses. That's a win-win-win-win-win for them.
Sure.
And I can see on paper where they can see, oh, Seth Rogen is this age, so he's going to appeal to this demographic, that's the thing, is they don't understand in Hollywood, Seth's demographic has turned against him.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like that,
I think more that he's turned against his demographic is the problem.
Either way whatever way you want to, phrase it, it's true. But like, so first of all, they're not going to show up, and that's who they're expecting to bring their kids to this movie.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it is you've got the two directors who are young guys who were not even born until probably, maybe young enough or old enough to remember the 2000 series, if that, but it doesn't show in this. Like I see very, like even the Easter eggs are very surface level in this movie. Like you can, like even like the ninja rap bit is really a kind of a toss away, and you're like, really, that's what you're going to use that for? It's like, it's so lame. And a lot of the Easter eggs, there's nothing here that's really deep for turtle lore or fans. And that's where it tells me that these guys weren't really all that deep in the knowledge of it. And they really weren't tied to any of the, the backstory. And I mean, maybe they dropped Splinter's backstory just so they could have an excuse to have Jackie Chan do the voice. Well, no, but like, when Paulie said he fell asleep, that was the thing, is most of the kids in my audience started getting restless about 2/3 of the way through. Right about that hour 10 mark, they started getting really restless. When the movie should be ramping up for its climax. That's the other thing. This movie only has enough story to really fill like a 20-minute episode, like a standard.
Yeah, but everybody's really proud of themselves for their visuals and their gags and everything.
That's just it. There's just so much crap that slows the movie down that you're just like, okay. I mean, and they don't even have some of the obvious beats that you could have to make this a full story. That's my other problem, is it's very half-assed, right? For instance, they get the idea, this is kind of their whole impetus for what they're doing. Because in the beginning of the movie, the Ninja Turtles steal shit, right? They're no better than the Foot Clan was. They're basically the Foot Clan. They don't pay for nothing. Because you know what you expect to, like, even like in the beginning of Ninja Turtles 2, when they save Kino from those guys at the mall, they leave the money inside the pizza box thing to pay for the pizza.
Because they were raised with honor and they were supposed to be the good guys. Yes,
they even pay the Pizza Hut guy for the pizza at the beginning of the first movie. They always make sure they left money or paid for things that they took. No, we don't know how they found it. They could have found the money washed up in the sewers for all we know, and that's very likely. And that's things that I used to ask as a kid to my mom, and that's how she would answer it. It's like, Mom, where did they get money? And she'd say, well, they probably found it washed up in the sewers. And that made fucking sense.
Because that would actually happen in the big city too, I'm sure. Oh,
and that's the whole point. Yeah. That's the whole point of the way the Turtles used to work, is a lot of the things that they had and functioned with were shit that washed up in the sewers. And as far as the food and other things, they would find ways to pay for it, or they would find it like a homeless person. Like, I mean, that's kind of how Splinter fed them as babies. We saw it in the movie. It makes sense. But like this movie completely just like, okay, yeah, that's what they're doing. They're just stealing whatever they need to get by. Okay, and that's how they're justifying this.
Tom, we're talking about writers who don't understand the concept of being heroes. Even though the trolls, they're obviously, they come out at night and they do their work at night. You're talking about writers who don't understand the difference between heroes and villains. They think that they're all one and the same, and it's just a point of view or a perspective.
Yeah, it's like the whole acolyte thing where there's no good, there's no bad. Everything's just relative.
Well, just don't forget that this is the same guy that said, you should expect to get your car broken into in California. It's kind of like a ride.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, me living in my walled mansion and everybody else, well, you know, it's just the way it is around here in California.
And his place is super gated. Yeah.
Here's the funny part is their ninja skills are at their peak when it comes to stealing shit to survive. When they get into their first, second, and third fights or so in the movie, they suck. They basically fuck up into beating up everybody. It's one of those kind of things. In fact, they even give Splinter a Jackie Chan scene where he uses a chair and all this other shit. You know, basically like Jackie Chan did all the choreography for it. That's probably the most interesting scene in the movie, because it's like, okay, at least you can actually see some skills going on here, and we see where Splinter has some skills, but I still don't see how he learned those other than maybe watching Jackie Chan movies, which is too meta if they'd showed that.
Yeah, because his backstory is an actual, like, you know, practicing.
He's just
samurai.
A fucking rat. No, he's just a fucking rat.
A rat. That's
there is no backstory for the Turtles. In fact, it's basically Superfly who made the Turtles, Superfly and Baxter Stockman, because it starts off 15 years earlier, and Baxter Stockman's making mutants, and he's like, you know, the whole mad scientist, they don't understand me kind of shit, you know.
Yes.
And he's got baby Superfly and a couple of the other mutants there that we see. And these guys from TCRI come in, who is something Utrom is her name. So it's like, oh, gee, I wonder what she's going to be in the sequel or the series, or who. You know, so now they're going to also make Krang into a chick. But anyway, so for those who don't know, Krang is basically an amalgamation of all the what were called the Utroms in the comic book. They're kind of the same thing. They're just basically these brain-like creatures from another planet. They live in and they function by being inside of these like robotic bodies. But they've also eventually, like, they bring Shredder back to life and all this other crazy shit.
Of course,
in the comics, it's like weird because for those who may not know, in the original first comic, they kill Shredder right away. He's dead.
Yeah, exactly. And then what exactly brought him back to life again?
It was like these worms from the other planet and he basically is like made up of this, like these mutant worms from this planet where the Utroms come from or whatever.
Yeah. And I remember there was a video on Red Letter Media where one of the guys that did the comic book art for that, he was talking to Rich Evans, and Rich Evans is apparently just a Ninja Turtle lore master. And he asked him, do you know how Shredder was brought back? He's like, wasn't it worms or something? And then apparently they interviewed Eastman and/or Laird about it. And they asked, like, so what was up with the worms? And they just gave, like, I guess a big shrug. Like, I don't know. Just that's something to bring him back with.
And I don't even see, the sad part is I mean, I'm trying to even remember the first comic, if they could have just gotten away with like they did in the second movie, where it's just like, yeah, he didn't die. You know, it's like,
he fell into a trash compactor,
plausible,
but
plausible. He got out of
that's
there.
right.
Okay, whatever.
Batman,
And just a mark on the face. Just a mark on the face. That's all. Everything else
Batman,
is
I remember
fine.
seeing that. I remember that they were supposed to. They implied that the toxic waste that created the turtles was the same one that banged Matt Murdock on the head before it fell in the sewer.
Yeah, to the sewer. I mean, they obviously.
Well,
it's kind of
right,
fun to
Bobby.
think that anyway. No, I'm saying it was kind of
it's fun
fun
to
when
imagine.
It's
well, that was
really
the whole like
canonical.
idea. That's why Splinter instead of Stick, the
Well,
foot
yeah.
instead of
the
the
foot
hand.
in the hand.
Right.
The foot
It's
in the hand.
all
And also,
yeah.
who's that girl who looks like Elektra? I forget her name all the time. But yeah, they're the parallels. Are
yeah.
endless.
The name itself is a parody of various things like Miller made ninjas popular in comics. There's X-Men, there are mutants, teenagers, Teen Titans.
Yes.
Those were all big and funny animal comics. All those come. So that's why when we heard about it, we thought that it's the funniest thing. You hear it and you go, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. At comic shops, you'd laugh at that. Oh, that's cute. It's a cute parody thing.
And that's the problem is that's what this movie comes off of, is like what people thought when they first heard the title. But once you read that comic, you're like, oh, they actually ran with this concept.
Right?
Karai. Yes. Thank you.
Karai. Oh, I was wondering if that's what you were thinking of.
Thank you. It was not coming to me, but
sadly, this is the last good Turtles thing we've gotten in the last.
That was good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that. Of course.
I was telling you about that the other night. I think I was, Klobby.
Yeah, I'll definitely need to watch that.
Yes, watch it.
Because I was curious how Klobby receives Batman in that. Because I've heard some people complain. I've heard other people say they thought they did a pretty good job.
Well, as a fan of Batman Brave and the Bold, he teams up with Scooby-Doo and everyone else is there. So why not Turtles?
Well, I just thought that the Shredder versus Batman fight was pretty badass.
Cool.
So, I mean,
yeah,
pretty evenly matched, I'd say.
Nice.
Zephyr's been a member for 21 months. Wow. Thank you for that. Waltman says, why you ask kids are easily influenced. Yeah.
Yep. Impressionable.
Deer says, why does to keep the license always translate to minimum effort with no pride in your work? First twit available for the job. Well, and like I said, in this case, they see this as a win because it's Seth Rogen. He's a name. Right. It's no different. Actually, a good example of it would be the same thing as them bringing Kevin Smith into Masters of the Universe. Same exact fucking thing. Exact same thing. Daniel Stenitzman says, quiet, a little too quiet, easy, a little easy rap. Hey, look, it's rap. Yeah, a little too rap. Would you guys knock it on? I love the second movie, even though it has it's tamed down, but it's got a Ralph Nader joke, for fuck's sake.
That's right.
Like the whole, these nets are made and they're really well constructed. Yeah, remind me to drop a line to Ralph Nader. Would you get your foot out of my face? And Splinter comes in, cowabunga, and saves them like he's supposed to. And then he just walks away. He does. He just leaves. Micah J says, how well do you see this Turtle movie doing? Well, that's a good question. The projections have it setting somewhere between $25 and $36 million, I think is the take. For the weekend we were talking about earlier, which has me just flabbergasted. But then again, when I was at the preview, it gave me the same kind of vibes I got during Barbie, where I saw a lot of dads and grandpas with their sons and grandsons all wearing Ninja Turtle shirts. In fact, I got comments on my Raphael Ninja Turtle shirt too. So,
and what was his budget?
See it having a sizable weekend. Go ahead, Scribe. I'll shut up.
Oh, I know. I just was wondering what the budget was. I can look it up. Sorry.
Between 70 and 80 million, and it's 70 and 80 million. So yeah, it's not going to take much to make its money back.
Nah.
Plus, I believe this is amortizing this TV show and sequel as well. So
that obviously this is the springboard for all those things.
Yeah, and this is one word that was not uttered once in the entire film.
Really?
Of course it wasn't.
And to me, that means it cannot possibly be a Ninja Turtle movie. Then
I bet they found out it's some kind of cultural appropriation.
I was just gonna say that they probably think it is, and it's like, no, motherfucker, it's goddamn surfer lingo.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ.
When I was a little kid, I always thought that the characters from TNC Surf Design were in the same universe as the Ninja Turtles for some reason. I don't know what. That was just part of me. The surfing monkey and the turtles were all in like the same universe.
I see Mecha J's comment saying this movie deserves a flop. It sounds like it does, but here's the thing. Once again, since we're talking about the budget, it's more than likely not going to flop with the numbers because it doesn't have that much it has to go to. And because it doesn't have much, they can spin that off as a success and have their excuse to put out the things that they're committed to, which they obviously are. And like, it's all going to come out. I wish that it wasn't, but it's all an inevitability. I mean, whether you want to watch it is all up to you guys, the viewers.
And they don't care. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Scribe.
Oh, I was going to say real quick, and they don't care about veteran fans of the franchise. Obviously, they're aiming towards.
They're trying to replace them.
They're trying to replace them. Yeah, it's the whole Star Wars. We want a new generation kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we just dumb everything down. We make it all very, all this, just nonsense, social media type characters. We don't care about pathos. We don't care about any edginess to it or even taking it kind of seriously. It's just one big joke and it's just mass produced and who cares? And we're done. And as long as we have consumers, we're not looking for fans. We're not looking for people who appreciate the story, the characters or anything else. We're looking for consumers. That's all it is.
It's, here's a weird thing you could do, Scribe. Like it's one thing if you want to try to get younger audiences, there's nothing wrong with that. Cause arguably I'd say like versions of Daredevil from the 60s up until the 2000s did that, but you still had Matt Murdock at the helm. You still recognize him, but the thing is they don't want to put in the actual work to bring in the younger crowd. You can make accessibilities to make it work without still changing everything and dumbing everything down. Because a lot of these things have had that happen, and that's fine. And it worked for a lot of, IP-based characters. But the common theme here is they ought to be so obsessed with social media. They love being validated, and they love to have their new characters, whichever, talk down on the old characters. They love to obviously race swap, gender swap, sexuality, this, that, that. Yep. It's all the same way. They're not saying, hey, maybe we should try doing something different to appeal to the audience. And it'd be nice. It'd be one thing if a lot of these modern audiences, which to me, I don't know if that concept is a thing. It'd be one thing if they were responding, but they aren't. These people are not responding. They're pretending at best to like this stuff just because they know it spites the older crowd.
Well, we have somebody else
then they
joining
move on
us.
to the next thing. Once the new thing comes out, whether it's like a Marvel thing, they'll pretend to be a fan of that. They're at best, they are a flaky crowd.
Well, and I wanted to say this before we bring in our guest because the reason I know the Cowabunga thing was originated with surfer lingo, which I believe also came from Hawaiian speak, actually, if I remember right, is because I remember researching during the Booyah thing. Because I'm like, remember when Boyega wasn't even sure himself? He was like out on Twitter asking, is Booyah racist? Like he wasn't even sure.
Oh my God.
Because it's like, dude, you ended your career over that fucking word. You should be sure. Because guess what? I did the research and no, it basically come from, I believe, skateboard talk that was actually taken from some word from surfboard lingo, Hawaiian word or something like that. Like, yeah, so it's not even really a fucking word or means anything like he was thinking. But anyway, somebody who I could speak to on some of the martial arts in this film, though, is Paul. Which, man, do you believe that these Ninja Turtles learned from watching videos?
That was so stupid. The whole thing was like a bad dream. I don't know.
All I could think of when I saw that was like that Mr. Miyagi scene in the first Karate Kid where he looks over and he goes, learn from book.
Book, don't hit back. I love that scene.
But like, oh my God.
What did he say? How did you get that bruise or something? I don't know.
Something about, he got in a bike accident
and then there's lucky bike don't hit back, but then they just looked at each other. But how you doing, fellas?
Hey, buddy.
I got this stuff here for you. Do you want it?
I don't know, man. What's the comic all about? Is it like
okay? Well, first here's the poster.
Yeah, you got a poster you showed me.
Okay,
Which, yeah, I mean, some of this stuff. Here's the sad part: is some of these designs I wouldn't hate so much if it wasn't the movie so bad. But
yeah, I actually like that poster.
It's a cool poster.
It
And
is.
it's pizza.
It is a cool poster.
yeah, the piece that
looks
poster's
really
not
tasty
so
on
bad.
there.
I don't like the logo though. I'm not a fan of the logo either.
Okay.
though.
It's fair, but that
I could mail
pizza
this
looks
to you, man.
tasty.
You tell me, because
That or just hang on to it because I think we're planning on something for October. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, yeah.
I mean,
What's the comic like? Like, what is it?
I think the comic is just literally. I looked at it really quickly. Is
it even really a
looks like
comic?
it's a brief history, and you have a lot of the Eastman dudes.
See, I'm pissed I didn't get that. See, I want that. I'll take that.
Okay,
Yeah, that
but
actually
then
does look really nice.
it's covers.
Yeah. See, I'll take that for
That
sure.
cover,
Definitely.
that first cover was from the very first
one.
Eastman
Yep.
and Layered run, the black and white
Yep.
cover when they were all originally black and white,
Yeah.
and they all had tails originally.
Yep. That's the
Yeah, so that's
original
pretty
first
cool.
one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, there's no tails. Oh no, I saw a tail. I saw a tail. I saw a tail. I saw a
And
tail.
that-
Look to the left.
Yeah.
Always
That's the
looking for
original
I saw
art.
a tail.
That's the original
It looks
art.
like a
Yep.
dingling.
Nice.
So there you go.
Yeah, I'll definitely take that for sure.
Okay.
Because I didn't get one in my screen. He didn't give a shit.
I mean, all right, take me off this thing.
I'm getting there.
You know, that's where I get that when we go to the AMC early screenings, the A list.
Maybe that's why it was a Marcus theater that I went to. Maybe it was only
Okay.
AMC's.
I have like a flash. I need to mail that out to somebody. But yeah, I mean, I think it might be okay for kids. It depends on how old the kids are. Someone's asking in the chat. I just, you know me, guys. I give everything a fair shot, and I fell asleep. I think twice.
There's nothing
Oh,
overt
jeez.
in it really to be against the kids, but I mean, I guess you'd have to question of how your kids take certain messages. Because, like I said, I have a problem with how the turtles were portrayed as heroes. Because I don't think they were very heroic.
I agree in that.
In
regard.
fact, through 90% of the movie, the only reason they're doing half the shit they're doing is for their own self-service. It isn't until the very end that they realize, oh, we've got to be heroes just because we got to be heroes. Which I know, I guess that's part of the movie, but
being a hero should be a selfless deed, not
exactly.
No, it should be selfless.
And they're
but
not
that's-
very
once again,
confident.
the writers
and,
they don't.
It's a
have
very
those
social media
experiences.
hero thing.
yeah, and see, the turtles were always reflective of. I loved how I don't remember which one of the turtles it was. Somebody can remind me if it was a comic or one of the series where you literally have this wonderful scene where Splinter is assigning each of the turtles their weapons. And he's like, Leonardo, you get the sword because you're a steadfast leader, just like the sword, which will always be steadfast and at your side. Raph, you take the side because, like you, it's blunt force. And and then Michelangelo, you are the master of the nunchaku, which are chaotic and crazy and blah blah.
I
Like
didn't
all
get
that
any
kind
of
of stuff.
that.
Yeah, and Donatello, you are the master of the bow staff, steady and always there.
Well, they made fun of the stick. I got a stick.
I know, that's what bothered me. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And that's what I was saying. Is like when Splinter lets them, they kind of both the weapons choose the turtles. That's kind of the whole point of the
Didn't get that at all.
ceremony. You don't get any of that shit.
Didn't get any
you
of
don't
that
get
at
any of the honor. You don't get any of the shit that had to go with the ninja and the
biggest
father
problem
and the
of this
son and all
film
that stuff. Yeah.
The biggest problem of this film is that they expect you to know everything and it never slows down. And it's for me, it's not watchable. Like it's just it doesn't slow down. It's the same tone as far as like the comedy, same note, and then every 5 minutes, literally even quicker than that, was like another retro 90s hip hop song or something like that. Way too much, dude.
Very much in the Spider-Verse vein. Go ahead, Scrap.
Can I propose a concept opposite to cultural appropriation, and in this instance, call it cultural abandonment? Like the lack of Japanese culture, samurai culture, honor culture, the code of honor and everything else. Yeah, and that's the entire basis of looking past the silliness of talking turtles, in that they're, like I said before, they treat themselves seriously. Splinter and his sons, they see their mission and their purpose as a serious one, even though to the rest of the world they're ridiculous monsters, weird, whatever. Is that they beyond that there's something greater than just not to get too ABC After School Special on this, but as I was a kid, it was like you look beyond the surface level to see the character of the person. Like you see a monster, but this is an actual honorable, steadfast, as you said, heroic individual doing the right thing, even though the world would shun him for what he looks like. That was the message I got as a kid, and that's not there anymore.
Well,
that's a big part of this movie, but it's more of their own personal bullshit than because they want to go to high school, they want to be part of the human world, and Splinter's all like, "You can't go in the human world; they'll milk you."
Well, I didn't care about any of them because of that. I mean, I kind of like cared more for Superfly than anybody, but I don't know.
Well, and again, that's the problem with the villain, because they make him a sympathetic villain because he sees Baxter as his father, and then he literally sees his dad supposedly killed, although we never do see a body. We don't know. It's set up that he's going to come back in some form. That's the thing. Baxter has come back in many different forms, whether it's the Fly, the mangled version, which shows up in like a machine, kind of like a la what's his face from Star Trek, or kind of like this guy here.
Scottish Fly.
Beep, beep.
Not Spanish Fly. It's Scottish Fly.
No Spanish Fly.
That's the other thing. If they had John Leguizamo, just think of all the Spanish Fly jokes they would have worked into this bitch.
Pretty fly.
But you can't get away with that type of humor nowadays.
Oh, I know, but I almost found it cringe, Paulie, when you have like 6 o'clock in the morning, police at my door. Quoting the lines like that to me just felt like, oh, come on, really?
I mean, honestly, though, yes, but I did see that. I was like, well, that's Cube reciting Cube.
But the movie's a meme. Like the whole
absolutely.
Like, even the whole like you look kind of like little Shreks. And it's like, okay, that would have been funny, but it's sad.
I mean, there was a couple of laughs, and some of the animation looked all right.
Well, do you get the little Shrek reference, right? Because everybody said that the 2014 version looked like Big Shreks.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
No, I didn't get that.
So that's the reference there. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, even all the stuff they do reference is very surface level. It's like, you guys really just didn't even get into the nitty gritty of what the Turtles were all about.
No. And it was way too modern references, like.
Exactly.
No. Yeah.
And actually Price of Reason brought that up too, I think. Where he brought up how, like, there's a couple of references in the 90s movies here and there, especially more so in the second film, maybe. But even in the first film, I think there's a Harrison Ford reference, and
here's how you make that modern
stuff that's a little bit more evergreen. But go ahead, Nick.
You modernize the world around them, not the characters themselves.
Go ahead, Paul. I know you got limited time.
I am going to split, but I was wondering if I can. I wonder if I can plug my. I'm doing an event here in Los Angeles. I was wondering if I can.
Oh, really?
If I can plug it, does that be all right?
Put a plug in it.
Of course.
So we are teaming up with Film Threat, and let me see. Did I get this right? Oh man, I sent you the image, Tom. Is there any way you can grab it? I'm in the wrong.
Let me see. You got the link at least, or what do you got? Where's it at?
Text.
I can't do it off a phone.
Okay, let me put it on Twitter then. So I'm doing a free screening of the Blue Beetle for the community, and we've given out over 30 tickets now to students. We've met up with a Hispanic Coalition of Small Businesses, Film Threat, Chris Gore, Latin Heat Media, and just really like, hey, community, here's a free event, free popcorn. I'm paying for it. Come on and let's have fun, regardless of if hopefully the movie's decent, but
that is a good idea, Paul. I think that's outstanding that you do it. You just gotta make sure you do one thing. I just ask you one thing. Make sure those kids get all the extra butter in their popcorn in the world, because otherwise it ain't a movie experience without extra butter.
I just put in a Twitter. Yeah, they're gonna get popcorn, snacks. They get the free ticket. It's already booked up. I mean, it's an AMC. It's an AMC Burbank theater, so it's a top-notch theater. It's just one of their smaller ones. We're pretty much already sold out on it. We might do a second one. The response has been fantastic.
Ooh,
and
that's cool.
Anyone in the Midnight's Edge After Dark community that lives in Southern California, hit me up. I'll get you in.
So will you be live streaming before and after the movie?
It depends on how organized we are, because I really like the goal is the event itself. I'm also going to do giveaways. So we have gift bags. We're going to have Film Threat throwing in stuff, stickers, DVDs. We got Alejandro and his he's putting in his film, and we just want to give it to people that come. And it's an event that we kind of doing last minute, but I'm just kind of like I'm just tired of the negativity. I'm just like, you know what? Let's buy the house and let people come in, judge it for themselves. But let's have some fun going to the movies. So
I respect that.
Yeah. My padding the Blue Beetle numbers, huh? Listen, I'm biased as fuck when it comes to Blue Beetle, so I don't care. So yeah, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. How about that? And you don't have to. I respect that, but I want people to have fun. And I appreciate Tom letting me come on. And obviously, Chris Gore, Film Threat, it believes in this, and that's what we're doing, guys. That's what we're doing. We're trying to have fun going to the movies again, and my channel is called the Latino Slant. So yeah. But me and Tom have been covering this particular project for over 2 years now.
2 years, yeah.
That's true.
I hope it's good. I mean, I have my reservations, but yeah, we'll see how it plays out here. It's got what, 2 weeks and it's out.
Yeah, and pre-sale went out today, but no, I'm not being paid by any company.
Is it a preview screening, Polly, or is it?
It's actually, we're actually doing it on Friday night.
Okay.
So we teamed up with Hispanic Business Coalition. They're a 502 nonprofit, and I forgot what the number is. And we were able to get a discount on the theater rental. It's still expensive, but our people came through, and it's fun. And so we're getting a lot. We're getting a lot of students, a lot of kids to come see the show, guys.
Yeah. I was going to say you're running the show now, Polly. Tom dropped out.
Oh, Tom bounced out.
This stupid thing. I hate this mouse, and I cannot figure out how to change the settings. But there's this two buttons on the side here. This is forward and backwards, and I always end up hitting this one. It sends me back.
It's a great thing you're doing, though, Polly. And so, congratulations on doing that.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah,
amazing.
No, good for you, man. That's amazing.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you guys. We all got like different opinions on the filmmakers. I'm not about that right now. It's like, hey, let's just do a fun event. I have the means, we have the community that I built up with Chris Gore. We go out every week with all our film nerd fans and friends, and it's like, hey, yeah, let's do it. Why not?
Absolutely.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Hope it turns out to be good. I'm we've been talking about this movie a long time, like you said.
Yeah, it's a 501c3, and we are gonna have goodie bags. So we're trying to put stuff in there like stickers, movies, whatever I can grab, my posters, and just give them away. And it's on August 18th, Friday night, 7:40 p.m. So if you guys want to make it, come on. If you guys are near Southern California area, I'm going to put the email one more time. And I really appreciate this, Tom, because we just confirmed everything. It takes paperwork, takes money, but it's as simple as renting out a theater. And just give me an email if you guys want to go. I'll get you a couple tickets.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let us know how it goes.
Yeah. I will.
We'll all hear. I'm sure we're all gonna hear. I know you've been covering this from way back when, so it only makes sense that you see this.
Will that be the first time you see it, Polly, or will you have seen it before that screening?
Thanks for asking. I'm going to see it the night before, and I'm going to review it. Honest review. I will put it up. So there's no one paying me, guys, to do this event to where like I have to do a good review. Yeah, I don't do that shit.
What, someone saying that or something? Or are you just kidding? Somebody's kidding.
I think nowadays it's assumed if you're doing like something like this and you're sipping or you're being paid.
Well, I want to hear what you have to say about it. I want to hear your review.
Yeah, guys. Well, I appreciate you all on the panel. And Tommy, Ninja Turtles was terrible. I'm sorry.
So yeah, I know what Tom thinks about it, Polly, but unfortunately I missed the start of the show. But so just 30-second summary for my benefit again. What did you think
Of Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
He
I
fell
think
asleep twice.
I fell asleep a couple times. And that
So
just goes
boredom
to
is the worst thing that could be you could say about a movie, I guess. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, well, that's interesting to know.
I was bored. And let me just also say, I took a nap a couple hours beforehand. You know, us older guys, we need our little naps. I
didn't help.
I had a nice siesta, Tommy. We went down. I had some good chicken nachos. I had a cherry Coke. That was my splurge night. We went to the movie theater. After 10 minutes, I was like,
Do you think it was pitched at the right level was it for kids? Was it for adults? Who was it for?
it's probably for families and small kids.
It was for families and small kids. Okay.
For the movie to babysit them for 2 hours or 90 minutes.
Right.
Okay. I will say this, in our film group, more people did like it than not, which I was, a little shocked.
Yeah, I gave Chris Gore some shit. I'm like, did I hear the nasty rumor that you actually like this piece of shit?
Did you tell him that?
Yeah, and he's like, well, I'm not a big TMNT fan. I thought it was kind of fun. I'm like, I don't know you anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I was gonna be blown away, or like wow, and it was just didn't happen.
This movie really benefits from IP ignorance. Okay.
Well, I'm IP.
Then I'll watch it then.
Scribe Light, but I'm like, I was not entertained.
Yeah, see, even Paulie wasn't entertained, even if he's not even that much of a fan of Turtles. It still doesn't speak to it.
That's the whole point of when you make something and you're trying to appeal to a young generation. Like, once again, you want to respect what came before. Look at Cobra Kai, while still bringing in a new audience. These things can work. Like, that's the whole. It wasn't made fuse. It's not our fit. You just want to mooch off an IP that had a pre-established fan base. And you knew that they would take the bait because it has a name that they recognize, and then they attack. Then they call you out for making something that's unfaithful. Then you blame them because they're the only people who end up seeing it anyway.
And I'll tell you, Nick, you might know this too from being a Turtle fan, but Turtles have one of the worst fan bases for just eating up garbage. Like, as long as it's got Ninja Turtles on it.
There are those. Oh yeah, I've encountered some.
You won't believe the fucking fights we got into back in the day after they, showed us what the Ninja Turtles were going to look like in the 2014 film. There were so many fans that are just like, "Oh, just give it a chance. Just give it a chance. At least we're getting Ninja Turtles." It's like, fuck you. I'd rather not have it.
One of the guys who liked it last night, he had the Last Ronin T-shirt on, and he was telling me all about it. I'm gonna grab it now. Were you a fan of
Last Ronin? Kicks ass,
dude,
but I don't like how it
I own the hardcover of it. I had
why did they make
early
that film?
days of the comic shop show, we covered each issue individually of that story.
I don't know if it's worse than the Sonic fan base. I've heard some fucking horror stories about the Sonic fan base.
Every fan base has a bad apple. I
gotta tell you, Tom, that sounds like every fan base I've been fighting for.
It
40
does,
years.
but like, I mean, it was what I meant. Klobby was like, it was like this was happening to TMNT, but way before the other stuff, right? Like, Nickelodeon was the problem, right? So yeah.
Paulie,
Tommy, I hate to leave. I gotta go to a meeting.
No, that's fine. Check out Latino Slant, where you can find Paulie on the daily, and you can also find him on Midnight's Edge Espanol. Anything else you got going on you want to plug on your way out?
Midnight's Edge Espanol, we put up a whole bunch of new material, and actually this guy here is in 2 new videos.
Oh, the Motu video, yeah.
Yeah. So it's in English. We had him on the show.
English.
I just want to give my love and respect to the community, people in the chat. I gotta say, I would not be able to do this event without wonderful people donating who can't make it. And I wasn't asking for any money, right? I haven't been asking, like, I've gone to companies, to these, independent companies and stuff like that. But you guys help pay for it. So I just want to give big shout out to Jim Watiri. Man, you guys on the panel know me in my heart. I just get emotional, guys. I get real emotional, and I got nothing but love for these. This is where the community shines. So, and Scribe, I just met you. Hey, I'm sure you're a good dude. But thank you again, guys, in the chat. Tommy, I love you.
All right, take care, brother. You have a good
Okay.
night.
See ya.
See ya.
Cheers,
Bye.
Paul.
Peace. All right. With that, we got some super chats and member stuff here. It looks like we've got Daniel Stenitzman, who said, "Oh, we got this one already. Thank you, though." Mecha J says, "Okay, about this one. How well do we see it doing? Hopefully not well."
Sadly, it
$5
doesn't
from
have
Jay.
to do that much just to be considered well, though. That's the sad
as long as
part
it makes
about
like close to $200 million, it'll be all right. Jay says, "I still prefer the comic version of TMNT and Batman. The fight between Batman and Shredder was a full page of them exchanging blows without commentary." Yeah, I've never actually read the comic, but I have I think one issue of it that Mexican Iron Man sent me, but I gotta get the rest of it. Trooper Deuce has also become a member. Do we see what level it was by chance?
Deuce.
I did not catch what level, so we'll just give you. Let's see here. What do we got? We have for you. How about an Oscar-winning puppy?
It was maximum effort puppy.
Oh, was it? Well, then we'll give
maximum
maximum effort as well.
Yeah.
Well, not that isn't a maximum effort puppy. We'll still give you another maximum effort puppy. Here you go. Here's another one. There you go. That dog is driving a boat and loving it.
Of course it is. And why wouldn't it be?
Dad's like, "Can I take over?" No. I'm doing a good job. Speaking of doing a good job, or not doing a good job, Disney has been having some issues as of late.
You don't
Not
say.
only that,
No.
they're looking to retire Mickey Mouse as a beloved mascot as it enters the public domain. Now, this is something we've all been talking about from time to time. And I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but recently, Disney themselves had kind of been, the door had kind of closed on them trying to fight to keep Mickey Mouse theirs any longer. I don't know how up to speed you guys were on this, but Steamboat Willie, I believe, also went public domain here recently. So yeah, we're gonna go
I just thought there was always loopholes where they could just continually renew and renew and renew.
Kind
forever.
of.
Yeah.
They're not exactly. So there's even
happening?
Mickey Mouse laws and other things that were brought into effect to protect Mickey. And I thought as a last stitch effort, Disney would use Mickey as basically their icon and say, "Well, Mickey is our icon for our business, so it's no longer a character only; it's also
a trademark."
Trademark. But I guess they didn't do that. So let's read this here real quick because we're going to be losing Nick before too long here. Let me bring this over to my main window so I can read it better. Now get over here. This is the problem with having two screens. So from Inside the Magic, announced the Disney Corporation looks like they're on the verge of retiring their most famous mascot after nearly a century since introduction in the black and white Steamboat Willie comedy. Or cartoon, sorry, I said comedy. Let me make this bigger on this one here. There we go. Look at that. That's why I got this new big and nice monitor. Although he is the official mascot of the company and one of the most recognizable images in the world, the mouse has not appeared in a full-length Disney film since Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas back in 2004. Combined with the Disney Plus series shutting down, it almost seems as though the company is working to reduce the role of its most famous character, Disney's copyright woes. There might be a good reason for that. For years, the company's hold over the character has been covered by the Copyright Term Extension Act, which prevented certain high-profile creative works from entering the public domain as per normal United States law. This is what I was trying to talk about before. This is why I said Mickey accidentally. This is the Mickey Mouse law. This act has also been called the Mickey Mouse Protection Act, as it legally was pushed into legislation by Walt Disney in effort to maintain legal control and profitability over its chief asset. However, even under the Copyright Term Extension Act, Mickey Mouse will enter the public domain next year, unless sudden congressional action is taken. Considering Disney is already in quite a bit of legal trouble around the country, in particular with state governor, the company might not be able to make it happen. Now, this is where I was saying that some people had pointed out the timing for them to legally try and do anything to change this has kind of went out the window.
Hmm.
from what I've been told. Like the door is closed. As such, it really seems like Disney is finally phasing out Mickey. If so, it'll
nuts.
actually go ahead, Scribe.
Oh, I was saying that's nuts. That's of all the things that they would just like allow to slip through their fingers. That's amazing.
Then again, is it really that surprising? Do they, do you think maybe a lot of people see Mickey as something as a
Well,
what's the word I'm looking for?
Anachronistic, like old.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, maybe
thank you.
well,
Exactly,
yeah.
70s. That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Anachronistic.
Yeah,
everything,
anachronistic, but also an icon of the connection to family.
A bygone era and of
but
families.
Maybe a bygone era, but also, I mean, to maintain their sort of veneer of their history. Sorry, my alarm's going off there. The veneer of their history and their connection to family-friendly material and things like that, and the legacy of their founder. That just seems like a bizarre thing. Now, maybe they have no other recourse, but if all they had to do was make a production to sort of renew the license or restart the clock or something, Disney can't put together a Mickey Mouse movie just like a Corman Fantastic Four movie in like 6 months. Come on.
I think they could do a movie, but I question whether or not it would actually
count
preserve Mickey as a whole. Right.
Okay.
So let's keep reading here real quick.
Sure.
Just get through this and then we'll get everybody's take on it. If so, it'll actually be good for old Mickey's benefit, considering the horrifically dark path the company has taken in woke territory over the past few years. Well, this is editorializing here. Let's see if there's anything really worth bringing up here.
I can't wait for the Mickey Mouse horror movie.
Okay, so actually
teaming up with Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, it just keeps going into other stuff that I don't think really have much to do with what we're talking about. So in the long run, based on Disney's destination is why we're talking. Okay, this is just editorializing why it would be a good thing. So that's not even point. Okay, so go ahead, Lightscribe, and then I want to grab Nick's reaction to this before he has to go.
Oh, I was just saying the Mickey Mouse going into the public domain, what we've seen already with Winnie the Pooh and Piglet going into horror movies and stuff. I can't wait to see what somebody decides to do with Mickey Mouse as a character in a completely different genre.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Parody can be done, but now you have a situation where if this is in the public domain, Nick. So yeah, before you have to leave us here, what's your take on Mickey possibly becoming public domain?
Like all things, public domain is good and bad. I mean, if there's someone out there who wants to deliver a faithful take to what makes Mickey Mouse, awesome. But of course, since it's public domain, well, you're gonna get some pretty dumb takes as well. So, but that's the course with anything that becomes public domain. So, I'd say though overall, more in this, it's more so better that if that were to be a thing, that is better. That is not near what has become this company that was about the family. Now that they have distanced themselves away from said family. So, if it happens, I hope it does. I mean, I think that's the preferable option of the two, because this character and Walt Disney himself do not need to have their names tied to what this thing is now. The character and Walt himself are much better than what this industry has been the last 20 some odd years now, 30. So I'm with it if this is the case. Actually, I'm with it.
All right. Well, Nick, before you head out, anything you want to plug? Is there a Toxic Tuesday tonight? I didn't catch.
Toxic Tuesday comes back next week, and we'll be our buddy Mark D with the C has a show he's doing later tonight. So go check buddy Mark with that. Next week we'll be talking Hard Target. So Jean-Claude Van Damme, Hard Target next week. It's gonna be huge and hard. Yeah, my channel, 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. I posted a very important video this morning on something that's going on with the comic of Invincible and its show. I would say it's a bit of a doozy. So please go check that out. Check out my channel. And yeah, I'll be back here Thursday night. Thanks for having me, Tom. And chat, stick around, enjoy the rest of the show. Thanks,
All right. See you soon, Nick. Take care of yourself.
Bye.
Everybody.
All right. So, Klobby, what's your take on this whole copyright business?
Well, I can't really say I have much of one. It's been not something I've thought a whole lot about. The public domain stuff is It's inevitable. I just think this is going to be because there's just such a monster corporation. They're going to find a way to. Yeah, they're not going to let this one go. He's too big. They're not going to let it slip through. I don't think so. I can't see any way they would.
Brian, anything to add?
Well, I have never felt, and as you know, I've been around for a long time, I've never felt that Disney was that fully committed to Mickey as a character in the last
not as a character.
40, 50 years. I mean, yes, as a figurehead and icon representing them, but not as a character. As you said, the last full-length feature was what, 2004?
Yep.
Somebody said there are some shorts on Disney Plus. I wouldn't know.
I would
but,
say the last time Mickey had any real success was Mickey's Clubhouse, and that would have probably been what, 10 years ago ish.
Yeah, I've never felt they were that committed to
Maybe
him
a
as
little more.
character, and I get the feeling that they'd be quite happy to let him slip away. That's just me. I don't have any information to base that on. But I mean, I look back to the 60s, 70s, 80s. Mickey was not the first character that came to mind when you thought of Disney animation. And Disney animation movies. That's just my opinion. I mean, I have nothing to base that upon.
And Mark said here maybe this is a fact that Donald might have been more popular than Mickey. Mickey is kind of lame. He's kind of like very the straight man, right?
Never defined that character.
He's never been not like Bugs Bunny, right? Like Bugs Bunny, you can really kind of sink your teeth into. Mickey has always kind of been just a little too straight. It's really almost kind of like.
Does this mean him and Minnie are getting a divorce though? If one is,
it's like here's the thought experiment. If Mickey goes away as the mascot, who do they replace him with? Who becomes the icon at this point?
What were you going to say, Clobby?
Oh no, I was going to say outside of Steamboat Willie, name me another popular, beloved Mickey cartoon.
They're usually with other people. Yeah, you're right. Like the
Fantasia, I would say, that wasn't all Mickey, but
that's what I mean.
Fantasia.
I'm talking about Mickey's.
Mickey on his own, not really. But
Mickey's Christmas Carol. Mickey Christmas Carol, I think, is probably the best.
That was still not even fully on him. I mean, more of that's Uncle Scrooge, So
right, it's just he's sort of strange. He's always been a figurehead, and the strange thing is, there's so much Mickey merch out there, but I've never met anyone who's nuts over just Mickey Mouse for however.
I've known a few people, but I think it's kind of tapered off compared to what it used to be. But I think it was Brian was making the point that, it's really been a long time since he's been a major part of the zeitgeist. Like there came a point I think it was the early 90s when Mario overtook him as far as most recognized character on the planet.
Yeah. He just never was. Strange how he's the most popular nothing of a character that's ever existed.
And I don't think he means that much to them.
No. I think now it's sad that in the last few years, I think you're right. I think it has come to the point where they have realized that he is not as instrumental to Disney's future as they should be treating him, because I frankly, he could fall into the public domain, but I still think it falls upon Disney to make sure that they still maintain the integrity of the character in a way, because it's still around the company. That's the other thing we have to look at too here is like, we're living in a much different time than when a lot of these original copyright laws were put into place. Now, I'm not trying to make any sort of argument for a corporation that should be able to extend their copyright way beyond. But the whole reason some of these copyright laws exist is, you're allowed to make money off your copyright. Like one generation or so of your family can make money off it afterwards, or two, depending on how old you are when you create said thing. And then at that point, it becomes the public, which I don't disagree with. I think at that point you get so distanced from the original thing that even, the great-great-grandchild, should they really have any say over what the fuck happens to some of these characters? In most cases, it's detrimental to what happens to these franchises. Or the family members they should be listening to, they don't. Right?
Yeah. You know who I feel sorriest for? It's the one lawyer at Disney whose only job is to write out cease and desist letters to people. He's gonna have nothing to do real quick. It's like, Yeah, I'm making a Mickey Mouse porno movie. No, I can't do anything anymore. I'm powerless.
You know, but I got to sit here and ask myself, if Disney was in any other place right now, would I feel a little differently about this? You know, like if Disney was still that stable of family entertainment, would I be like, you know what? No, Mickey Mouse is an important institution that needs to be protected. You know, because
he predates all this nonsense. He predates the nonsense, the symbol of him, what he represents, and so I have more
argue that Mickey Mouse, as much as Superman and certain other characters, are now more or less like an American
landmark.
Landmark is the best. You're right. That's what I'm trying to get to. Is they should be protected in a way. Like I don't know if you guys think I'm in the right with thinking that way, but I mean, sadly, under DC's
there are some things that I guess we would consider sacred cows in America as far as symbolism and icons. And Mickey Mouse, you know, even though he is boring, he's never been anything other than wholesome. And as soon as he goes outside of copyright, you know, that's going out the window real quick.
And Valentine's too is right. Maybe this is why Mickey was so important for so long, and then he kind of started falling off. Is he was always kind of this analog of Walt. He really, really was. And Walt did the voice for years.
Yeah, that's true.
And in that respect, I mean, not only did he, and even when he quit doing the voice and that other guy took over, like, even then it was still Walt putting the words in his mouth. And I mean, Walt Disney oversaw everything at Disney like a fucking puppet master. And that's something that, even though in some cases that's a bad thing to have, Disney was such a visionary that he knew the people that he needed. You do this, you do that, I got to get this out of you. I expect this out of you, you know, and that was his sense of knowing, keeping that standard up of Disney and what it meant. And I feel like Superman's a great example, because look at what DC has done to Superman over the last 30, 40 years. 30 years at least.
Put it mildly. Yeah.
Put it mildly, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think there should be, I know this is never going to happen, but I would be like, feel so much better if there was like this American law that at one point when these American created entities get so old, they should go into public domain of sorts, but they're also like protected under American Standards Act or something like that. I don't know how to put it. I'm not a lawyer, but
yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. So considering that 90% of all of those characters, quote unquote, properties or whatever to call them, were basically stolen by vampiric type of corporations from their creators who didn't get squat for the most part.
Mickey, one of them.
Yeah.
So I mean, Tarzan should fall under that umbrella.
At least Edgar Rice Burroughs owned that, though. I mean, his estate owned.
He did, but now it's public domain, isn't it?
I
Tarzan?
thought that isn't there still an EBR state?
There might be. You might be right. I thought it might have went into the public domain recently, but I could be wrong.
No, but I thought there was as of relatively recently. I mean,
you could be right, because it might not be that old yet. Zorro, though, is on its way.
Right. Oh, okay.
But see, Zorro, was that American created? I thought that was French.
Yes. I'm pretty sure it was an American creation for
I thought it was French. I thought it was wrong. Maybe, but if not, again, I feel like these certain characters, they should fall under this purview of, I mean, I don't know how we could really dictate it. Maybe we need to put together, and I know I'm sounding like a fucking idiot right now, but
cultural historical landmark, that kind of thing.
Exactly. You put them under the guise of like you would a historical landmark, the same kind of thing. So like you would have a committee that would oversee all these things, right? And when they would basically have, you know, to pass through this committee to be like, okay, does it meet these standards, right?
Yeah, but then it's like who then decides when I can use this character thing? It just turns into a separate corporation. It just becomes. I
understand that, and that's where I kind of question it. But that's also the good question as to where people are asking, you know, what about when Batman becomes public domain, Superman becomes
one of the things about Tarzan, Tom, is a number of years back, they find all these loopholes. Apparently, there still is an Edgar Rice Burroughs estate, but that did not stop. I think it was Dynamite Comics from doing a comic called Lord of the Jungle. All they did was not put Tarzan on the cover, and they also did some John Carter based books with Deja Thoris and things like that. They used her name, and they would use like Warlord of Mars on the cover instead of John Carter. So yeah, it's getting to be kind of murky.
Well, and I think maybe Scribe just kind of made the best argument for this whole thing and is an anti thing and just let it be public domain, I guess, at the end of the day, because as much as you may not like it or anything like that, I guess things like that Winnie the Pooh horror film should exist, whether you agree with it or not, I guess, at the end of the day, even though I would feel like Winnie the Pooh is one of those things that would fall under this, but that's also opens up the doors to other things. So you're right.
Assuming Disney don't have some other reason for not wanting to retain Mickey, they've obviously made a commercial decision that it isn't worth the effort to fight this or try and restore that copyright and keep it out of public domain. They can still profit from themselves from the previous properties that they've used Mickey in. They can do other things themselves with it if they wish.
Yeah,
They've
what
got the
this doesn't,
expertise.
those things are still protected to a point. Like we said,
The
Steamboat
stories are
Willie
protected.
is in public domain, and the character will be in public domain next year. But like certain animated films and stuff won't be in public domain for years. Like there was a bunch of animated films that fell into public domain over the years. Like if your mom and dad ever bought you one of those cheap videotapes back in the day, or cheap DVDs that had a bunch of random 7-minute cartoons from like Looney Tunes to Betty Boop and Popeye, is because a lot of those fell into public domain for some reason.
It's clear that Mickey's image, though, can't be considered as itself as a trademark because that would be.
Well, that's kind of where I'm surprised.
It could be extended then.
I can't believe they haven't. Yeah, because that's where I was talking to some people before, and I don't remember if it was Andrew of Legal Mindset or somebody else had pointed out that like the window of opportunity for them to fight for Mickey as, and they even brought it up in this article, is basically just a symbol for the company as a trademark, like we said. The window's closing. Like the time is done. They haven't got it in time to where it's seeming that they're not going to give a shit.
Does the 3-circle Mickey silhouette also become public domain, or is that? That seems more like a trademark symbol to me than a character. But I don't know.
You got a good point there, because as we're looking at it there with the circle and the two thing, like I think that might be safe for a few more years. Because I think you're right, because I think they didn't copyright that version of they made that like a trademark of Disney itself, like that symbol. Sometime probably in the late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah,
I would think.
If it's a trademark symbol representing Disney as a company, then that there's a logo. Be maintained. Like any trademark for something that's over certain years old, you don't just lose it because if it's intimately associated with your product. Now that might be more physical brands, like I'm thinking of the alcohol brands that have been around.
Well, that's kind of what this article is saying, and what I was asking like a couple of years back here already, knowing this was on the horizon, and that's where I had said that they had missed their window now of trying to do that, I guess.
Well, people in the chat have mentioned that perhaps that Mickey is very closely associated with the man of Walt Disney, and perhaps Disney isn't that keen to, despite their name, to they want to lessen those links over time, perhaps, to the individual that founded the company. That's speculation. We don't know that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another argument too, like what Scribe had kind of brought up too, as far as like, are you, and I think Klobby even to an extent of like, are we talking about because all the creators that got screwed out of like their DC properties and such like that, it's like, are we talking about actual companies here? Are we talking about individuals? Like that's the other problem. I think in the eye of the law, they're seen as the same things. So.
Yeah, I think they've obviously made a judgment call that it's not worth their effort to fight this. So subtitles. Well,
diddly potatoes. That's what they all say.
Diddly potatoes. As you know, Mr. Tickletrunk, English isn't my first language. It's Scottish. So. And Canadian is my.
But anyway, I didn't mean to disrupt your thought there.
No, I didn't have any great insight other than the fact we know we know what Walt Disney Corporation is now. I think certain things don't matter to them as much as they used to. Maybe that's a natural progression if you've been around for 100+ years, or 100 years nearly. So it clearly doesn't matter to them that much, and it doesn't mean they can't still be associated with Mickey Mouse. So.
Oh yeah, they can still use the character. It's public domain. But yeah, exactly. Somebody, the bean counters did a cost-benefit analysis of fighting it legally and trying to maintain it. And just said, "How are Mickey merchandise sales doing?" Never mind.
Yeah,
Probably what it was.
exactly. I mean, if I went back to the 1990s when my children were young and said to them, "Hey, how about that Mickey Mouse?" They would probably, despite the fact they watched Disney stuff, they were going,
What
Yeah.
about him?
"The Donald Duck." Different, I think.
Well, yeah, they know Donald Duck.
Yeah, Mickey just
Donald
doesn't
had
resonate.
personality.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
But all right, let's grab some of these super chats here. We got Camelbot Killer says, I love the cartoon and movies 1 through 3 of TMNT from the 90s. I refuse to watch newer versions. Can't beat the original. Mickey equals Disney execs are morons. I agree.
Mm.
Mr. Tickle Trunk has been here for a whopping 25
Holy cats.
months.
Holy
Wow.
cats.
and he's still here.
He's
We
still
can't get
here.
rid of him. We
Can't
cannot get
him.
rid of him no matter what.
Yeah. Waltman says Barbie Twitter account shares Barbenheimer meme Twitter Japan. That's not funny, and we won't watch the film now. This happened in Japanese news covered it. Not only that, Warner Brothers apologized.
What?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Freedom Running. Yeah, so that just tells me Japan's just getting as woke as the rest of the world. Freedom Running says Mickey is too late, too male for Disney to care about.
Yeah.
Darth
Possibly, and I think you asked about Minnie, and I think Minnie's just as old as Mickey, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope they're the same age. That's appropriate.
I'm pretty sure she came in. Wasn't she already there already in Steamboat Willie or one of the earlier
I think
cartoons?
so, yeah. Or
There's
version
a joke
thereof.
about Mickey, Minnie, and Goofy that I can't tell on the air.
Says who?
But the Darth Scipio did ask a good question there, which is it just the name Mickey Mouse that will be in the public domain, or is it the name and the actual image?
That's a good
drawing?
question. I'm assuming
It's a great
basically, again, the character itself, probably as long as it's close to or like the original version, and you can use it in a serious non-parody form, satire form, is what I would understand.
Mhm.
Again, though, the other part is like I said, don't expect a bunch of random Disney cartoons to start showing up on these cheap DVDs and Blu-rays like we were just discussing, though, because we're still quite a few years out from some of those becoming public domain. But the
Right.
character itself, as far as I understand, is because the weird thing about that Pooh movie, the Winnie the Pooh one, is they technically probably could have still made that before Winnie the Pooh was public domain. It's
Yeah, but they would,
satire enough that they probably could have gotten away with it.
yeah, but the Disney legal machine would have come down on them like a ton
You're
of bricks
not
and made
wrong.
everything
You're
more
not wrong.
difficult. They probably still could have done it, but it would have been
Yeah.
at a high cost.
At a high cost. You're not wrong. But like
Yeah.
I think that at this point, like that's what you got to understand is once these copyright laws go up, is you can actually make a story that's serious. You don't have to worry about being haggard by parody or making something like it or what
Well, we
have
got
you.
to hope that somebody cares enough about the character they might actually use the character to do something good with it.
But I think that's the problem with Mickey, and maybe this is part of the reason why they're letting him go, is that he is such an avatar or an analog of Walt that
Mm.
how do you use him? I mean, they've tried using him in other forms, but it hasn't been to much success in the last 40 years.
Yeah. And that's partly what I think. I think the fact he's an analog for Walt is one of the reasons they're happy to let it slip away. In my
That's what
opinion.
I was implying too. That's what I really think at the end of that's what I think
Yeah.
the bottom line here is the sad part about it is
Mhm.
a lot of the people you got making these decisions right now, I can see them clearly going, look, Mickey Mouse is so 1930s. We need to get with the 2030s because they are right around the fucking corner.
They're starting
right?
to
Like,
resemble the 1930s, but that's a different story.
well, that's a different story altogether, my friend. Gonzalo Bergali has been a member for 20 months. That's a great deal. We appreciate the help. Waltman says, in Japan's defense, took roughly 50 years for the radiation to subside, so it's harder for them. I understand. I think their issue, and this is where I'm not siding with Japan, but I will say I am sympathetic or empathetic or whatever the word you're looking for, insert here, to what they're saying is the way Barbenheimer was with the whole, pink explosion in the background, kind of making fun of or light of the whole thing. I can see their situation going, that's not really that funny. I mean, I get it. Now, I'm of the mind, though, that everything's either okay to make fun of or nothing is okay to make fun of. So with that,
Where does
Yeah.
the line get drawn?
yeah.
Who draws the
I-
line? Where is it?
I don't think Warner Brothers should have apologized, but I also understand where Japan is coming from. But I doubt everybody feels that way in Japan too.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to get too deeply into the politics of it, but there are many accusations that could be thrown at Japan about things they haven't apologized for that people could throw back at them. So it's a difficult scenario when you start throwing people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, you know. So I'm not suggesting that they don't have a right to be upset about all those people dying in that way.
Well, to be clear, I never said
other
that
things
right.
happened in that period. Other things happened.
I never said they necessarily even had the right. I just said I
No,
understand
no.
why. Right.
Yeah,
Like I can understand why.
That's a better way of putting it. Yeah.
Like, I can understand why you don't necessarily make a 9/11 joke, but I'm not going to say you can't. Or you shouldn't. You know, if it's funny, fucking make the joke. Right. And this is the kind of shit I remember when we got it. And not to bring up this fucking thing again, but with the whole stupid James Gunn thing. And it's like the hypocrisy of so many people that were going after him making fucking pedo jokes while they were trying to say he was one. While all he was doing was just making the same kind of jokes. It was the stupidest thing I ever saw in my life. I'm sorry, but it was. It's like, do you not see the hypocrisy in what you're doing right now? Okay, there's that level of it on top of everything else. So it's like, come on, guys, let's quit being so fucking, quit getting so upset at doing the same shit that the woke folk do is what I'm trying to say. Getting upset at little stupid shitty things. So yes, I'm also on the side of let it fucking slide, Japan. Have a sense of humor. It was literally almost 100 goddamn years ago. Right? Like, stop it. Just get over it right now. I mean, it's a fucking movie. It's not like it's reality.
Hiroshima, get over it. Okay.
It's not even really a movie. I don't mean Hiroshima get over, but I mean get over the joke part of it. Like, it's a fucking joke.
I know. Okay.
Wow.
And it's not even really, it would be different if they actually had a map of Japan and get blown up. No, it's a at no point, not even in the movie. That's the other joke about the movie anyway. And this is kind of getting to my whole point, is that we don't even get to see the fucking bomb going off. So like most people have joked about, this movie is one big edging without the fucking happy ending. Not to be punny about it, because you never actually get to see.
So it's not the best bang since the big one, then?
No, like it's
except for Columbus.
Except for what, Clobby? I didn't hear what Clobby said.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought that one at Brian. Hitchhiker's joke. Sorry. Good.
Oh, okay.
No, you got it.
You got it.
Best bangs is the big Eccentrica Columbus.
The triple-breasted
horror of Eroticon 6. Yes.
This is true 6, and I do understand, and and that's why I said before, I can understand why some people would get upset, but at the same time, it's like, okay, we get it. It's a fucking movie, and I can't believe I'm defending this shit, but I can't be a fucking hypocrite at the end of the day, so try not to be anyway.
Tom puts the edge in Midnight's Edge.
I try. Price of Reason, who we talked about earlier during
he's right
TMNT,
on the rim of Midnight.
Says, I only like Mickey when he's on South Park. Oh, that's the best Mickey. That's the real Mickey. At least the modern Mickey. Mark's 47 has been a member for 27 months. There you go. Thank you so much.
Can you imagine Matt and Trey taking advantage of the public domain thing and making a legitimate Mickey Mouse movie, like completely straight, like just going, not even trying to make parody or anything, like make an actual family film?
Scribe, they should make a follow-up to Team America with Mickey Mouse as the lead of the team.
Yes.
Oh, God, yes.
Come on, yes. Do it.
That, or you better yet bring like all the worlds together with South Park.
And a Winnie the Pooh in it too.
All that business. Gonzalo Bergarli says, I keep wondering if Iger's favorite government, China, may have something to do with Disney company not pushing to extend the copyright. I'm not sure. Why does China not like mice?
Don't know. I'm not sure.
China can now produce their own like off-brand Disney stuff. Oh wait, they're already doing that.
Do they
I don't think that would have stopped them. Yeah, that would have stopped.
I can't see what's in it for the Chinese. I'm obviously missing something, Gonzalo. I'm sorry, but I don't see what would be in it for them, unless they've got a huge Steamboat Willie thing going on over there. Is it just me that's frozen, or is it everybody?
No, nothing.
All right.
Tom entered another dimension or something.
Oh, he did, clearly. Yeah, I don't. Sorry, Gonzalo. I'm not sure what might.
I got a stupid thing on the phone I'm dealing with. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't know. And if Disney aren't talking about it themselves, I think they've just made a decision that it's an old property they don't really care about. Yes, they've used Mickey to push the parks and so on, a lot of merchandise, but it can still be on that merchandise.
Yeah.
Who's really buying it?
If the article is correct, the amount of legal wrangling that would be necessary to actually make the law fit around allowing them to continue the copyright would probably be worth more expensive than actually just letting it pass.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing Tom was saying about some kind of digital or image protection for culturally significant properties like a Mickey Mouse. Aren't there already certain things like that? I mean, you can have properties entered into the national record as whatever. I mean, I'm pretty sure there are things like that can happen. Culturally significant stuff like the Smithsonian. You can be in the digital equivalent of the Smithsonian. I may be wrong, but I just don't think people care about Mickey that much. I'd love to see a new Donald Duck movie. That would be good.
Might happen. It might happen.
Be good. Yeah.
I'd rather see it Howard the Duck, but this is me.
Howard the Duck.
Well, don't say that because that could happen. You never know.
But yeah,
it's funny you say
would
that
not go
because there
well.
was like a 50th anniversary comic that just got released, I guess.
Of Howard.
Yeah.
Is that a Lucasfilm though?
George Lucas
Not
did make
anymore.
the first one, but
No. It was a Marvel comic character to begin with, and then I think
He had the license for a couple of years.
So that's
but
why
yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy can't get her hands on it. Okay.
yeah, the first Marvel movie, though.
Disney
know.
would never
Yep.
make a legitimate Howard the Duck. If they went back to the original material, they wouldn't make that kind of movie.
Howard has been in a couple of those movies for small scenes in the Guardians movie.
Over cameos,
Yes,
Seth
that's
Green would
right.
voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Seth Green.
cameoing. Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, I remember Disney back in the early days of Howard the Duck when he was having that bit of popularity in the 70s. How pissed off Disney was because they said he's too much like Donald, and they tried to Marvel. They sent Marvel some nice letters at first, and then of course they got more and more worrisome. So they said put pants on him at least, so he's not exactly like Donald. And at the time they were being fairly lackadaisical on Steve Gerber, the renegade type creator who created and was writing Howard, and he was his own editor, which was rare for Marvel. But both Stan and a couple others said, "Look, just put pants on him, please. Let's get this over with." And he said, "I'm not doing it." And they finally said, "Okay, I'll do it." Then he writes a story where it's about some evil. He makes Disney. It's basically a shot at Disney, making them a bunch of evil religious zealots trying to force and torture this poor innocent duck into wearing pants. Then he still didn't put pants on him, and he quit. And all they wanted was pants on Howard, but
I hope Howard the Duck shows up as his real self in the Deadpool 3 movie. That'll at least make it a little bit worthwhile.
He's been in a few movies already. Don't you guys remember?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
he's
he's
in
in
like all the
cameo.
Guardians movies and
Endgame. I still tough to spot in Endgame though.
Yeah. He had a fairly decent role in. I mean, most of his screen time, I would say, is probably in part 3 of
Yeah, he's
Guardians.
in 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Why would you say that to her? He called me a bad dog. Commandment VHS says, so if we can make fun of bombing of Japan, is the Holocaust okay? No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I've heard plenty of Holocaust jokes too. Mr. Tickle Trunk says Japan was Axis in World War II. They can take their lumps. There's that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's just it. They were the victims of the bomb, but there's a big difference between like how the Jews were the victims of the. I'm not even gonna get into this because of YouTube, but you get what I'm saying.
But
There's a
yeah,
little difference there.
There are. I mean, if you go to Korea today, and you can go to the north, but go to the south, there's still a lot of resentment against Japan for things that they did to the Koreans. So I'm not minimizing the death of all those people and the sorrow of the Japanese people. And I love Japan and its culture, but others would say, well, you weren't exactly pristine yourselves. Two rights don't make a wrong, I know, but
yeah.
It's where does it stop when you start throwing stuff back and forward like that?
I also look at it as, we got to have court jesters in the world. I don't care. At the end of the day,
Yeah, it's always individual
We take
people that
ourselves too
suffer.
fucking seriously.
Individual people always suffer in these war situations.
Yeah.
And that's a bad thing.
Now, if this had to do with the manatee that died from his brother fucking him to death, that'd be a different story.
What?
Ask Six about that.
I don't want to.
You haven't heard about this shit?
I must have missed this one. Is this part of show lore or something?
No, this is absolutely fucking real.
Oh no, please.
Yeah.
Did someone make sweet love to a manatee?
They switched.
The other brother, brother of the manatee did.
Oh god.
They switched CERN on, and this is what happened.
They actually were switching on and off. They were having mutual beneficial whatever, I guess. And after one of the last sessions, the other brother didn't make it.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's kind of a sad ending, but
well, depending which brother you are, I guess.
Which end was it that was sad? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the smaller one, I guess.
This goes to show there are many stranger things out there than we could imagine.
Yeah. No, this is, I shit you not, it's a true story.
Yep.
This is a true fucking story.
I believe you.
Sure, it's
Can't
taken a
find it.
weird
I was going to
turn.
bring it up, but I won't. I
I'll
was
let
waiting
my
for the right
imagination
time to
do the
spring
walking.
that.
Yeah.
Spring that one.
And remarkably,
Six,
there
what are you
still
yelling at me for? You're the one who sent me the story originally.
There are still 440 people
She's just,
watching.
like,
Remarkably,
going off on me in this chat here.
Boy.
Actually, we
Fucking
should then be
manatees,
training
dude.
manatees. Sounds like manatees are pretty dangerous. We should be trying to put little helmets on them and train them to go and.
Hey,
stuff.
Kitty Bear got it to work because he was having issues earlier. He sent in a super sticker for 99 euros. Thank you so much. He sent in a pooper sticker. Of course he did. She's laughing now. She knows what she did. She was waiting for me to bring that story up. I think she was.
That's what this stream needed. A little bit of manatee
Going off as well for the manatee. Yeah, it was really bad.
Oh, the huge manatee.
Well, you never know where we're going to go here on Midnight's Edge After Dark, hence the After Dark name.
Exactly.
Probably on
Very
safer
edgy.
ground with animal sex than we are with.
Well, look,
some of the
I'm not
other
going to
books.
lie. Like, one of the funniest jokes in the Clerks cartoon was Flintstones list. Okay, I'm sorry. It was fucking funny.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Sometimes
You
you
must-
just gotta, you can't not, well, and then fuck, if you listen to Flashcast earlier this week, or this last weekend, there was shit that I think Cecil said that would get just about anybody canceled. So, about like Hitler and Dan Frank and some other shit. Don't even get me started on it. So, like, if you've seen the show, you know.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there. We're already demonetized, I'm sure. I wouldn't blame Six. We were demonetized.
Demonetized and
way
probably
before
going
that.
to hell. But
Oh, fuck yes. Oh, there's a special spot for me there, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was about
Reserved.
to say, everybody, now's the time to pitch in those 99-cent super stickers to make up for the demonetization after all this conversation.
Right? We got a winky face here from Valentine's 2, who actually sent in our first super chat. But thank you for the winky face there. We appreciate it. And really, with that, we ran out of stories, and then we hit the 2-hour mark anyway. So I want to thank Scribelight for hopping in here as a guest tonight. It was unexpected, but very, very much appreciated, my friend.
Well, I appreciate the invitation. I was glad to come on and chit chat for a bit.
Yeah, it's always fun to talk to you. And we got Clobbering Times, of course. Thank you for being here, my friend.
Thank
and,
you, buddy,
You got
for having
anything going? Are you going to be on the thing with Mark later, or what's going on?
Our great buddy Mark D with us. He's doing a special show tonight because he wasn't feeling well Sunday night. So it was a special Sunday night geekery tonight, but he went to Terrificon up there. So he's going to have a big show showing all of this, all bunches of pictures and loot he's got there and all kind of cool stuff. So be over there hanging out with him, my bud.
Let me see if I can link that real quick. I don't know if I can. Or
It's
not.
it'll be cool. It'll be cool. No Toxic Tuesday or anything like that going on. So come take a look at some cool stuff that Mark did at the big con up there.
It's on his is it on his channel, he said?
Yeah, it'll be on his channel, on the great Mark D with a Cheese channel. I'll hang out with him over there. Then the usual stuff.
If you actually have the
might
link.
see you there later, mate.
I see if I can get it for you.
Yeah, because I'm not finding it in here, and usually I can find it by link then. That'd be great. Oh, we got another super chat here from Casperius who says super sticker koala. Well, we do koala in the morning, but it is that time. Yes.
Don't be so rigid, as one manatee said to the other.
Well, that's true. While we're waiting for that link, though, maybe we will play some koalas in the rain afterwards.
Stop eating my sesame cake. Stop eating my sesame cake!
Oh,
I put it in the
Delroy Lindo.
Gotcha.
Delroy
Thank you.
Lindo.
gotcha,
Let's see if I can find this.
private
and
chat
actually
there.
link it. Let's see here. All right. See if I can find it. Oh, there it is. All right. So the show
Cool.
is linked,
Cool.
and I'll also share it in the chat as well, just in case people just want to grab it from there.
Excellent.
So there you go. Head on over there.
Take
Check
a
out
look.
Mark D with a C. And Brian, anything you got going on or want to plug?
Oh, I'm a busy chap. Lots of stuff. Posted a lot of videos recently, but on Thursday morning, I host a show on the Rock and Roll Rowdies YouTube channel. And this week, they're going to be talking about their first touring experiences in the United States as young British roadies back in the early 70s. So last week, they did their first European touring experiences with various bands, and that was a lot of fun. So that's on the Rock and Roll Rowdies channel. I'm actually sharing. I don't know if you can see my screen, if you're able to share a screen or not. There at the bottom, Tom probably can't do it. That means nobody can do it. So that's Thursday morning. Oh yeah, there we go. So look out for that. That's Rock and Roll Rowdies YouTube channel.
Sorry, it took me a second there.
Yeah, no problem, mate. Next Monday
I got too many screens.
on my own channel. Sorry, that's a different one. There we go. Next Monday, my live show.
See, you got the same problem I do, and you only got one screen going on here.
I've got a lot of screens up here. So next Monday on my channel, I'm doing another edition of the Cult Comedy Crew, and this time we're going to be talking about SCTV, the
Hey,
classic
love it.
Canadian cult show.
Greatness.
Oh
Great
yeah,
show.
we're gonna. I mean, I'm not sure how many clips we'll be able to play as usual.
Yeah, unfortunately.
but that will be a lot of laughs, and hopefully everybody will be sharing a lot of memories of that show. And
Wait, isn't that
those-
like publicly paid for? Shouldn't you be able to just use whatever clips you want?
well, not
Yeah,
after
good
it got
luck.
syndicated
You're
and then
Canadian.
picked up by NBC.
Oh, fuck
for a
you,
couple of
NBC.
seasons. Yeah, exactly. But to me, and to many people, the superior show to Saturday Night Live at many times in its life, not in all of its life, but
I remember it quite well. I mean,
Yeah, it was great. It
growing
came
up.
on. You get to watch it the same night too. That a lot back then. You get that in
Really?
Saturday Night Live
Yeah, so
you're right, Clobby. Yeah, it did
in
show
the 70s
on,
and 80s. Yeah,
yeah, on
Yeah.
PBS. Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, and then they were actually one of the first. Their last season was on Cinemax. One of the very first
It's
shows
true.
on Cinemax.
But the early seasons though, with Harold Ramis
Yep.
and who was on some of the
On
early ones,
Candy and all that
and
shit.
Candy
yeah.
and all those guys. So, but they're the best.
Oh, great! Just hilarious. The movie parodies and the game show parodies they do are just
Yeah.
hilarious.
It was so good.
And on Friday, I'll be popping out to the movies, which is a rare event in its own. But I'm actually going to see a Korean movie. So actually, they've retitled it in the last 2 weeks to Ransomed, as opposed to Unofficial Operation. So I'm going to go see that at a cinema near me. Well, I say near; it's about an hour each way to get there. But watched a lot of Korean movies in the last few years, but it's the first one I'll have been to the cinema to see. So this
You
is
got a whole network going on over there. Jesus.
this is
man.
going to be a really, I'm doing a lot of, I've actually had some interesting tweets back and forth with Well Go USA, who are the distributor for a lot of these Korean movies based out in Texas. So trying to get more screening information because they're hard to see. A lot
Oh,
of them. But
really? I would like to talk to them because they have a few things I'm interested in.
Yeah, they got a lot of good stuff. But this is going to be a great movie.
Actually,
trust
last
me.
I knew, they run the Phantasm IP as well. Or
Yeah,
at
a
least the
couple of
movies, anyway.
couple of great actors in this. It's a sort of comedy drama, hostage drama set in Lebanon. Should be a lot of fun. So I'll be doing a review of that, hopefully on Saturday. There you go, busy chap. The channel's doing well, so thank you everyone for your support out there. It's
Congrats.
yeah.
Good.
Excellent. Okay. Is that everything? Is there anything more?
That's it.
And Scribe, plug your channel again because Mr. Tucker Trunk says so.
Yeah, Mr. Tucker says so.
And I do check into your TED Talks once in a while. I may not always say something in the chat, but I do kind of listen once in a while.
That's cool. Yeah. So every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, I have a series called TED Excellence, where I take a look at TED Talks or TEDx Talks of random subject matter.
I just throw it on in between stuff. I'm sorry I don't get to watch everybody's streams. I don't mean to make anybody feel bad. It just happens to be one of those times that,
Oh, I watch all yours.
I don't watch all of everybody's streams, though, Brian. I try to watch as many as I can. Sorry, Scribe. Continue.
Oh, there's one other project that I'm working on that I'm really excited about. It's a interview series I've been doing for the last several months with true crime content creators called Living on Borrowed Crime. And I've got several episodes out there right now with some pretty I try to be. It's the only thing I'm good at. And so I got those out there, and that series is kind of difficult to make entries for because if you wouldn't believe it, true crime content creators are kind of difficult to get a hold of because they're always working. They're always busy. And sometimes they're very introverted, but I've got a few out and I'm starting to build a little community around it. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, take a look at that. But yeah, so TED Excellence and Living on Borrowed Crime. And I think between myself and Mr. Tickle Trunk, my link is out on the chat.
And I think you've been trying to figure something out for Yumi and Script to do again, too.
I was thinking about that just yesterday, actually, and I'll talk to you offline about that.
Sure. Tim Riggs sends in $20. Wow, Tim. Thank you so much. Says, let's not forget that the natural state of things is public domain. Copyright is legal monopoly imposed to try and drive more creative efforts. It has been stretched so far beyond the original. It is rather disgusting. Yeah, Tim, and honestly, I mean, I always kind of felt that way, that things should eventually naturally go in the public domain, but Scribe brought me back around to where I needed to be, so it didn't matter. So yeah. I agree. Everything should eventually go public domain. I would like the idea of things being protected, but he's right. That opens the door for a lot of other slippery
a lot more
slopes.
Gatekeeping. Just a different kind of gatekeeping at that point.
And other like a whole nother set of layer problems. Like, I mean, it could be, not just that. What if they decide to take it away? What if they decide to, there's all kinds of things that could happen. You're absolutely correct. Oh, and Tim also became a member.
Maximum effort
puppy.
Maximus.
Well, it's a good thing we have 2 maximum effort puppy videos, so you don't get to see a double here. You actually get to see the other maximum effort puppy video. Look at this guy. He's got to deal with that belly. And trust me, I know that's real life issues. See? And strut. There you go. That is a maximum effort puppy. Thank you so very much, Tim Riggs. And with that, we're going to wrap this up finally. I want to thank everybody out there for watching. Thanks, Paulie, for hopping in here for a little bit. Thank you guys on the panel once again. Thanks to all the mods, 6. I seen, I think Steven was in the chat, even Yellow Flash, who's a mod. Again, thank you all you guys for all the super chats. Check out Mark D's channel. He'll be going live here in a little bit, it sounds like. So head on over there. This should lead you over there anyway. So tell him we sent you here from Midnight's Edge After Dark. Take care of yourselves and each other. And for once, we're going to just do a rare koalas in the rain.
Koalas in the rain. Koalas in the rain. No fucks given. Koala. Koalas in the rain. Koalas in the rain. No fucks given. Koala. Koalas in the rain. Koalas in the rain. No fucks given. Koala.
I got molested in the little boy's room.